It's the end of an era, folks. Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom have reportedly called it quits after nearly a decade of fireworks, pirate ships, and one adorable baby girl.
Imagine you pick your kid up from school one day, and they tell you their other parent never shows up, but the whole playground hears it. That's the headline energy hitting headlines now. Reports say Orlando Bloom just went public about Katy Perry not holding or appearing to ignore their daughter, Daisy. This isn't private co-parenting drama. It's tabloid gold. It's the kind of story that makes people ask, is this a mom thing or a career thing? Let's unpack why this feels personal, why it hurt, and how this feeds into the narrative that pop star mama is too busy chasing headlines to be a hands-on mom.
According to insiders, Katy and Orlando's relationship had been on the rocks for months. The split, amicable they say, no major drama, just two A-listers realizing that maybe forever wasn't in the cards.
I mean, I should ask you what's in the water in Australia, because apparently this all blew up in Australia. According to TMZ, Orlando Bloom is going to be making his debut as a newly single man at the wedding of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez.
But remember, this might just be the start of the next chapter in their messy breakup story. Let's get into the quote that set it all off. Reports say Orlando Bloom recently did an interview that seemed innocent enough. Some light comments about parenting, schedules, and life after splitting with Katy Perry. But then, out of nowhere, he dropped a line that hit like a backhanded compliment wrapped in a baby blanket. He reportedly said, "Daisy's a daddy's girl. She gives me all the hugs and kisses, even when mom's around. Sometimes she doesn't even hold her." Now hold up. She doesn't hold her? That's not just an offhand remark. That's a red flag in soundbite form, especially coming from a co-parent in the middle of a very public breakup.
Sources say he's expected to bring the energy and hit the dance floor hard. There's even talk he and Leonardo DiCaprio could slip away for a little bar hopping.
Oh, dear.
One insider joked 90% of the guest list is kind of boring, but that other 10%, including Orlando, Leo, and Jeff Bezos himself, is where the real fun is. It's going to be a great party.
She definitely pushes me to be the best version of myself.
But he handles the insanity of my life with grace.
There's no paparazzi photo confirming it. No viral video. But insiders say this wasn't just a random comment. It was a slip. A window into Orlando's growing frustration with what he sees as emotional distance on Katy's side of parenting. And once that soundbite hit the press, every outlet jumped on it. The quote was everywhere: YouTube reaction channels, Reddit threads, TikTok duets. People weren't just reacting, they were choosing sides. Because when a dad publicly says she doesn't hold her, that's not a shrug. That's a statement. The internet didn't just notice Orlando's comment, it detonated it. Parenting blogs were the first to twist the knife.
Now, the split rumors, they just won't stop. They're intensifying, and notably, she will not be attending the wedding.
Everyone's a teacher in a relationship. That's how I see it now, and we've taught each other a lot.
Headlines like, "Is Katy Perry a distant mom?" Orlando Bloom's quiet accusation lands loud. Some called him a protective father finally speaking out. Others accused him of weaponizing the narrative to make Katy look like an absentee parent. Then came the fan response, especially on X, Twitter. People dropped quotes like, "So she's always on tour, and now she doesn't even cuddle Daisy? Why say this in public unless you want to shape how we see her?" And the chaos didn't stop there. Radio stations jumped on it. Talk shows played the clip with dramatic music. Even podcasts that normally focus on pop culture gossip started analyzing it like it was family court testimony.
Well, the last thing you want to hear is that your estranged husband is hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio somewhere in Italy. That is just bad news all around.
There's a lot of people that are like, she's awful, she should go. You can't win them all.
We're both, I think, cheerleaders for each other.
One popular podcast called it co-parenting chaos wrapped in Hollywood PR. And the framing? Whether Orlando meant it or not, the story now had a face. Katy Perry, the too busy, too public mom who forgot how to hold her child. The irony? The split is still fresh. But somehow, the narrative is already painting Orlando as the hands-on dad and Katy as the missing one. Let's be real. This didn't come out of nowhere. This holding Daisy moment is just the latest breadcrumb in a long trail that's led straight to their breakup.
There's a balance. I think when when you're attracted to someone, it's kind of opposites attract, and so I'm looking for that balance, and maybe he's looking for that. Multitask. I'm such a multitasker.
Hold each other accountable as best we can, at different times, and I think that's part of what works for us as a couple who are trying to evolve.
Reports say the tension between Orlando and Katy began quietly after Katy's big space flight announcement and the launch of her latest album, which, let's be honest, didn't land as strongly as expected. Critics were lukewarm. Sales were soft. Katy threw herself into overdrive trying to keep it alive. Meanwhile, Orlando stayed home with Daisy. When Katy took off on her Lifetime's tour, fans noticed something weird. There were more photos of Katy with backup dancers than with her family.
And then also with KP6 in the works, Orlando went on Trevor Noah's podcast, said the nicest things about you. Is he so supportive of
Me?
KP6?
Yeah, we're both supportive of each other. I don't support him doing a second season of The Edge because I want him to live. So don't do that.
Orlando was never there, and Daisy, practically invisible in her content. Rumors on the street say Orlando started asking friends, "Where's my family in this picture? Am I part of this chapter or just a footnote?" That's not a casual observation. That's emotional erosion, the kind that shows up later as passive comments in interviews like, "She doesn't even hold her sometimes." Now, that quiet question about his place in her life has turned into a public signal flare. This isn't about holding Daisy. It's about who's showing up and who isn't. And just like that, one quote turned a private separation into a full-on family credibility battle.
Top tips to mend a broken heart: your best friends, your family, and lots of junk food.
She loves music, and she loves what mommy does and daddy does, and she loves seeing us happy.
Let's not pretend this quote came out of nowhere. Orlando's saying, "She doesn't hold her," didn't just drop from the clouds. It's the climax of a quiet tension that's been brewing for years. Go back to when Daisy was born. Katy Perry posted the perfect Instagram photos, soft lighting, pastel blankets, a baby announcement that felt like it had been art-directed by a marketing team. Then, days later, boom, merch. Limited edition baby gear, press interviews, talk shows. It wasn't a nursery, it was a brand rollout. Meanwhile, Orlando stayed in the background. No flashy baby content. No sponsored posts. Just low-key dad energy. He showed up in a few interviews, sure, but it was all offstage, all personal. Then came the pattern. Every time parenting was mentioned in public, it was Katy's team driving the image. Red carpet shots with Daisy. Carefully posed family photos. But no casual moments. No blurry selfies. No at-home reality. Just curated content, and Orlando, notably missing from most of it. Reports say fans have long speculated there's a media filter on how Katy presents motherhood, polished, professional, and poised. And now, with Orlando's quiet remark, it lands like the period at the end of a sentence he's been writing in silence. This has always been my reality. Now I'm saying it out loud. This drama, it's not just about who holds Daisy. It's about who's holding the family and who's holding the spotlight. Let's talk priorities. Katy's schedule reads like a billionaire tech exec with a pop star alter ego, a partnership with Blue Origin, a high-budget album rollout, global tour dates with visuals that look like they were filmed on Mars. Meanwhile, Orlando's dialed down. Fewer blockbuster roles. No headlining moments. Reports say he's chosen to stay close to home, helping Daisy adjust, doing school drop-offs, skipping premieres. But here's the tension. Rumors on the street say Orlando's been quietly frustrated by the imbalance. He loves his daughter, but feels like a footnote in Katy's story. One insider put it bluntly. He didn't sign up to be the nanny with abs. And now, with this interview moment, it feels like a declaration. Like he's saying, "I'm not going to fade into the background. I'm parenting full-time, and I'm finally going to say it." Because when a father has been sitting in silence while the world calls someone else supermom, Sometimes, a quiet dig like she doesn't hold her is the loudest shout of all. Let's be clear, the public didn't just react. They took sides like it was a custody trial on Twitter. You've now got two loud camps and almost no middle ground. Camp Orlando is calling him brave. Finally, a man standing up for present dads. He's doing what most guys won't, calling out emotional absence. This is real parenting, not Instagram parenting. They see his comment as truth, raw, unfiltered, and overdue. Camp Katy is pushing back, hard. You don't shade your co-parent publicly. This feels calculated, like trying to win a PR battle through your daughter. Let her be a working mom without the shaming. Some fans even think Orlando may have timed the comment to overshadow one of Katy's upcoming launches. Because let's face it, in Hollywood, there's no such thing as accidental timing. Even podcasters and YouTubers have weighed in, calling it co-parenting politics dressed up as an interview clip. And that's the vibe. This isn't about one quote. It's about how one split has turned into two narratives, and now fans are watching both sides like they're tuning into season 2 of a breakup docuseries. This isn't just headline drama anymore. Hollywood is weighing in, and the response is anything but quiet. Reports say entertainment insiders and celeb parenting experts are calling this a full-on boundary battle. One side says Orlando is being raw and vulnerable. The other says he just aired their private parenting dynamic on a global stage. Here's where it gets messy. On talk shows and parenting podcasts, questions keep popping up. Did Orlando break an unspoken rule? Is he showing emotional transparency or throwing Katy under the bus? And comparisons are rolling in fast. Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Phillip? They've been praised for years for co-parenting quietly and showing up together at family events even after divorcing. Same with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. Constant effort to present a unified front for the kids. Now, those relationships are trending as gold standard co-parenting examples, while Katy and Orlando's situation is being dissected as the opposite. One viral tweet even said, "If you love your kid, you don't make her mom look bad, even if she is." But here's where it flips. Some fans are defending Orlando hard, saying he's not trying to smear Katy. They say he's just being honest, that if something feels off, he has a right to speak up, especially if he's the one doing most of the emotional lifting at home. And that's what makes this moment hit so hard. It's not just a celebrity spat, it's a cultural debate about what it means to be a good parent in the public eye. So now the question isn't just who's right, it's, did Orlando just tear down the family facade, or is he finally showing people what's real behind the filtered posts? Either way, the parenting gloves are off and everyone's watching. Here's my bold prediction. Orlando will stay quiet next. Why? Because once he's public, the spotlight gets louder. But if this is strategic, we'll next see a parenting post interview about respectful space, or a quiet move. He'll continue spending exclusive Daisy time overseas, making unofficial moment of clarity videos. Meanwhile, Katy is expected to drop a heartfelt Instagram post showcasing mother-daughter bonding behind the camera, a silent pushback without one word about Orlando. This story isn't over. It's just moving into the next act, and whichever version you believe, hero dad or villainous exposure, the script is far from wrapped.